distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding wisdom and love. But in return, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry mountains who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges and their fast followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I caused the Rogar, and the minions took an end to the madness, they too were a match for the heathen forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. In a world left blackened and corpse-choked by the crusade, the judges banished me to this barren realm, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind set among themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods, because of worship, their real ambition all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their name since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believed they were capable of guiding themselves. Sorely mistaken. Mankind hates me now. And what of other nations who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Aureus and the abhorrent umbral creature? The insistent hubris of humanity and obviously. mankind's guardian, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I must betray them. Those three power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned their own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges and their crazed followers butchered those who remained devoted. And when I created the Urgot as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the evil forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. In a world of blackness and corpse choked by their crusade, the judges banished me to this barren realm, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, they set about themselves, free from the oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods, figures of worship, their real ambition all too clear. And yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. They believe they were capable of guiding themselves, but have been proven so mistaken. Needs me now more than ever. And what of other beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Zardoz and the abhorrent umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in foresight and obfuscated shadow, dreaming you unworthy of their presence, their communion. And yet, I stand before you with true words, open arms. For I love all of my children, even Listen to me. You must stop this. You allow yourself to condemn all of mankind for eternity. I am not your enemy, only what my own enemies fear. Lost the dominion they have established for themselves in my absence. Cease your misguided violence. Now! You are in the presence of a god demon. millennia of shameful distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. Judges and their crazed followers those who they belonged to me. And when I created the Rover as a means to put end to the madness, they too were a match for the heathen forces. Even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, the insistent humanity.
Ah, you again. Ah, you again. you again.
Why do you refuse to open your eyes to their manipulations? To millennia of shameful distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges and their crazed followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I created God as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the heathen forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. In a world left blackened and corpse-choked by the crusade, the judges banished me to this battleground, which has served as my prison ever since. Mankind set about ruling themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods. Because of worship, their real ambition all too clear. Yet an outcome, the insistent hubris of humanity. To believe. distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guardian, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three powerful malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges and their crazed followers butchered those who remained loyal to me. And when I created the Rogar as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the evil forces. In the end, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. In a world left blackened and corpse-choked by the crusade, the judges banished me to this barren realm, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, humanity set about moving themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods. Because of worship, their realization all too clear. Yet an outcome, the people deluded themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled? storehouse of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guide, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges praised followers, worshiped those who remained loyal to me. And when I created Jerusalem as a means to put an end to the madness, they too were no match for the heathen forces. In the end, I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill a god, despite their best efforts. Blackened and corpse-choked by their crusade, the judges banished me to this barren realm, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind still themselves from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods. Figures of worship, their real ambition, agency. Yet an outcome had themselves into believing a triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than was ever spilled in my name. And now, after all the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny, see what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering. Why do you refuse to open your eyes to their manipulations? To the level of shameful distortions of the truth. For eons, I stood as mankind's guide, shepherding them with wisdom and love. Yet in return, I was betrayed. Those three power-hungry malefactors who declared themselves judges turned my own children against me and waged a terrible war of needless slaughter. The judges forces. Imagine, even I fell. Although the judges found themselves unable to kill God, despite their best efforts. Blackened and corpse-choked by their crusade, the judges banished me to this barren realm, which has served as my prison ever since. Meanwhile, mankind set about hating themselves, free from the divine oppression of which they accused me. And yet, how little time passed before the judges themselves were raised to the status of demigods. Because of worship, their real ambition all too clear. Yet an outcome, people deluded themselves into believing in triumph. How much blood has been spilled in their names since my banishment? Far more than ever spilled in my name. All the time mankind have had to shape their own destiny. See what they have made of it. War, greed, hatred, suffering, chaos. Can you believe they were capable of guiding themselves? They have proven so mistaken. Mankind needs me now more than ever. And what of other beings who claim godhood? Where are they? What of Omius and the abhorrent umbral creature? They are cowards, hiding in force-like, obfuscated shadow, deeming you unworthy of their presence, their community. And yet, here I stand before you with true words and open arms. For I love all of my children, wayward ones. Listen to me. You must stop this before you allow yourself to condemn all of mankind for eternity. I am not your enemy, only what my own enemies fear. The loss of the dominion they have established for themselves in my absence. Cease your misguided violence. Now. You are in the presence of a god. Your god. I found you nothing and can just as easily destroy you. Yet you would dare defy my will. The world in which you exist is my world. Oh, and yet mankind, my own creation, exiled me from it. You have no idea what it is to suffer such a monstrous betrayal. Or to endure the ages of torment which follow. insistent hubris of humanity.